Ooh la la, this is Pilleater. Welcome back. I thought today I would talk about my Euro project as of 2022, and I recorded this on April the 12th, 2022. Sponsored by www.pilleater.com, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/pilleater. And did you know I also have a bio link at bio.link/pilleater? But away from the sponsors, I thought I would talk about my amazing and ever-growing Eurorack synthesizer project of the consumer Biden bucks influence that had over me last year and the said continuation of it. What are we doing during this nihilistic era of pandemic frenzy? Well, I'm making synthesizer music and building a synthesizer because, hey, that's what rad dads and middle-class fancy people do. So some people spend their money on $2,000 tractors. Well, I'm going to spend it on a Trader Joe's douchebag Starbucks nonprofit synthesizer. So here we go. What's it look like? What's my synthesizer look like in 2022? But before you begin, please watch this video. Pause the video and go watch my Eurorack project in 2021. That was almost 11 months ago. You could find that on YouTube, BitChute, or Odyssey. Just put in my Eurorack project in 2021 by Pilleater. And if you have the chance, please download the video so the feds won't take it down. I mean, we're really living in a digital battlefield now. You really have to download videos because you might not see this video if the feds take me down. So, respect digital property. Get out your USB sticks, your SD cards, whatever you have to do. This is data. Save this data. Go watch this video. And when you come back and you understood what the project looked like last year, come back to this video and you can watch it. So, all right, continuing. So what happened in 2022 this year? Well, I have two pieces now. I have two Arturia Mini Brute. I have two Arturia Rack Brute 6Us. I sold the bottom Mini Brute 2S. So no more extra synthesizer with the sequencer. I traded it in for a Rack Brute 6U. So I literally have a folding Rack Brute 6U system. And it looks like this. They're both tied together. I bring them by the little thing. I put them in a nice cushy bag. Oh, that fun stuff. So I have a top and a bottom. Let's go over the top. So how much is the top still the same from last year? It changed up a bit. You might notice there's a difference here, but this is what the top looks like now. I'm not going to go over the instruments already there because I've stated that in the last year video of 2021. I'm going to go over what has changed around. So you noticed up here the Dave Smith Curtis filter is up top. It's not at the bottom anymore, just to save space so I can make room for the Tip Top Audio 1 sampler. With this little teeny audio card up in the SD card up the top, I put in one sample. It's like an 808 cowbell, a 909 snare, the onset samples, whatever. I can tune it, pitch shift it, go through it. It's just one sample, and it's pretty convenient. If I want that one noise, like Daggett from Angry Beavers going, "That was nuts," I have it here, and I can send delay into it or whatever. Importantly, I moved around the Korg MS-20 Hertz to CV translator, and I put it in another unit. I'll talk about that in a bit, but I like the Tip Top Audio 808 open hi-hat, close hi-hat, so you can get that nice analog hi-hats there. I don't have to use a hi-hat from the one sampler. I already have a kick drum and the snare, so it gives more room for instrumentation there. But the obvious in the room is this guy right here, the Hermod Sequencer. It's an 8-track sequencer. This is probably the most powerful sequencer and clock on the Eurorack market right now for the size and power. 8 tracks. I mean, I have a 6-track mixer, and even if you don't want to use 8 tracks, you can use 2 of the tracks or 3 or whatever tracks just for modulation. You can get the artificial LFO, artificial delay, artificial random, all that. And it's a clock. You got the MIDI in, the MIDI out. I want to control the Roland TR-6S. There, I press play. This basically replaces the entire the Arturia 2S. This is the Arturia 2S. I mean, it has this clunky 8-step sequencer, but it can go up to 64 steps. This thing's amazing. It's got real-time recording in it too. So this is the entire music maker right here. Lots of great effects and delays. Love it, love it, and it's a great machine. You probably also noticed there's like 1 HP left in space. I just put a little, extra thing there. So yeah, this is my Eurorack. It's pretty awesome, but this is the top. I didn't go over the bottom yet. So let's go over the bottom and what's awesome at the bottom. It's all totally new. So here's another Arturia 6U, Rack Brute 6U. The bottom. I know it's pretty overwhelming, right? Notice the power is not on the top left, but on the bottom right corner, and it's upside down. That's because the way the Rack Brutes are shaped, they're kind of like waffles sticking together. So if the top left power was on the side, therefore the power would be on the top or the bottom right corner, and it's upside down. So it gives it that kind of, but anyway, it all makes sense. This is just the bottom, so I'm touching it at the bottom. So let me go over the units, what I have. I have a Meleco Mix 4. It's another mixer. This mixer is absolutely great for percussion or for weather, whatever. So I can put it in the 6-track rolling mixer. I can go back to the Hermod, use 2 extra tracks and sequence drums or whatever leads and put them all in 1 track. It just condenses 4 into 1 track. Awesome. Importantly, we got this guy right here, the Sequencer. It's a TR-606 style step sequencer. I love it. This just came out, and I know they don't make much of these. I mean, I'm just afraid they're going to sell out of these. Great thing. So if you want that 606 style, up to 6 sounds with the trigger outs, perfect way to make Eurorack drums here. Put the clock out on the Hermod and put it in here, and you increased your step sequencing abilities. You really need this guy for sure. Love it. I also added in a random, a Pico, or not Pico, an Erica Synths random. I love the random LFO stuff. Whether, it's like 4 randoms. It's like having the LFOs, but they're wacky. It gets a boop, 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 like a sample and hold type of ordeal. I love these things. It's not about the VCAs. It's about the noise it can make. Not that I'm doing power electronics or anything or noise music. It's just there. I mean, I might consider replacing it, but I do like it a lot. It's really cool. So, yeah, the important big guy right here is the Archaico by an Italian synth company. And these are very limited, but as you can see, this is a 4-track drum synth. We got 1 voice for the bass, another voice for the snare, and there's 2 tiny white noise and pink noise. The white noise is for closed hi-hats, and the pink noise is for open hi-hats. So you got this really Kraftwerk synthetic drum kit immediately, and I love this thing. This is probably the centerpiece to the drums right here. Absolutely love it. And why not? Next to it, I have another Erica Synth bass line. So ideally, I wanted the Acid Lab M303, but that was almost 8 years ago, and it's really hard to find that. With that unit, you have an accurate TB303 noise, but the Erica Synth, it does a nice job. It might not be accurate, but here's a VCA inside of it and its own filter system. So it's very condensed, and I mean, again, it's kind of, mainstream Coca-Cola stuff, but it's the SH101, it's compact, it does what it has to do. Put the random in there, and you get some really wacky noises. Followed by another voice containment synth, more synths the merrier, right? Is a Dofer miniature synthesizer voice. I know there's the big unit, and I like the big unit, but this is about saving space, so I have a small one. Again, has the VCA, the filter, the voice in here. If I want to borrow a VCA in here, I can use this one too. I remember back in 2008, 2009, Dofer had the Dark Star, and it reminds me of the Dark Star in some way a decade later. Really cool synthesizer, very bubbly and analog, love it. Next to it, before we get on to the light forms, I forgot to put an arrow on here, but you might also see that there's one other module next to it. It's a quad LFO. So, you need more LFOs. You know, you want to control the filter in and out or the VCA or anything like that within the oscillator. Here's 4 LFOs and just tune in the frequency and how rampant it goes. Great automation tool, highly recommended. But on to this, the Pittsburgh Audio Lifeforms. I know there's the blue version, the SV1B, but I can't find them. They're all sold out. So there's these used white units, and they're just as good. This has wave shaping capabilities, which is really popular among the bucla types, and they like it, kind of distorting. It can get some weird, funky sound. It can be percussive. It can be glitchy. It's experimental. I like it. It's just there just because it is. It's cool. I like it, but that's the whole point of the synthesizer. You're just making sense of it, right? Cool stuff. Next to it, I really like, I think is cool. This is an Echoes by Tip Top Audio. It's basically their attempt at a Roland RE201 Space Echo. It's got the dun 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 dun, like the fake tape. I do like that because I love making Martian soundtrack, alien soundscapes, whatnot, all that cool stuff. And so I can really do a lot with the Echoes here. I like it. So really cool unit. You know, that everything has in its effects now. You get a really spacey noise within 6 or 7 tracks, especially on the drums here too. Now at the bottom, okay, originally I wanted the System 500 reissue. It's like $2,000. That's easily 5 units for $500 per piece, and that's a little pricey, and it's like annoying. So it's like I have the oscillator, the mixer. Now instead of getting like the filter and the VCAs, I really like the filter unit. I'm gonna go with the effects because I have enough filters. But the effects, I got this delay with a gate delay, another LFO, Roland style. This was only like $200. It was a little rashed out, but I like this one. I also got this one, the envelope, for really cheap, another $200, except the knobs at the bottom were replaced, so I'm thinking about replacing the knobs at the bottom because this one was really used, this one. It's just 2 envelopes, you know, and another LFO, a really big LFO, and I think this is really cool to condense the dual LFO. It's a very functioning tool. I like it. The more the merrier. Kind of need this. I think it's really cool. So, you know, it's better than just using the 2 HP ADSR, so that can make room for the other synths like the Lifeform or the Ion Modular or even the Doofer. I mean, the Doofer has its own envelope, but again, need to make room for an actual stable ADSR. So here it is. Now I love this unit. This is the lag and sample and hold multi-unit. It's got slew with the portamento. It's got white noise, pink noise if I'm ever courageous to use Roland noise if ever. I got, again, sample and hold. I really like that. It's kind of like the unique utility that has all the effects to really make the noises in here. Again, you know, you should really be plugging this into like the VCA or something like that and some other tools. Again, don't want to spend a lot on the, you know, I think I would have a complete system right now if I bought the dual VCA and the dual filter, but you know, that's another thing. I love these, again, I love these Roland Maleko units, really cool stuff. Very a centerpiece, but Drumbo, tack, tack, tack from Daneland, from wherever, Denmark. This is basically a drum unit. It's got presets in it. It's analog, so you click the button up there. It can go anything from plunky to loud to noisy. You could put an LFO at the bottom, and it could scroll through the presets. So, kind of really cool stuff. Again, add this to the 606 sequencer. It gets that really nice analog-y percussive stuff out there fast. Really cool. I like the Drumbo unit a lot. Very wacky. I had to complete my Dave Smith collection here with the Dave Smith feedback. Now I have all 3 Dave Smiths. The feedback is kind of like the ending result. Again, like a distortion, like the Echoes. Gives that the more grit, more distortion, anger. Really good with the Lifeform, all that. I like it. Very good with analog stuff. This is a Canadian company by the name of System 80. They did a 860 Joe filter based on the Jupiter. You condense 2 dual oscillators together. They both have a filter, and they come out one hole. That's really good for the Roland dual oscillator. So I trust the Canadians with their filter than I would Roland. Maybe because it's the size, and maybe because of the boutique factor. The whole cloning of Japanese synthesizers. Cool stuff, right? Now, my system had previously only 2 VCAs and VCAs within the synth through 2 PHAs, 2 HP, but here, a tip-top audio dedicated VCA. This is pretty good and pretty solid. So if I make a big sound right here, I trust this guy. It's really cool. I like it. It's loud. People do make a big deal out of the VCA. Some people, they just get the they get the quad VCA by IntelliGel, or even the soon coming 4-play by Behringer, but I don't know. It does its job. I like it. It's loud. No one really thinks about that much. I'm not a VCA person, but here it is. I got 3 VCAs, and this is the third one. And it's the nicest one. And finally, just added on with a 2 attenuators. The snare on the G-Storm Electro snare can get pretty loud, so I want to damp it down a bit. Or sometimes things are too noisy, and I just want to level out the control voltage. So this is what I have. It's right here, and it's a good little machine. So I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, that's the entire bottom project with top and bottom. So you think I'm done with that, right? I mean, should make some new music with it. Of course, I'm going to make some new wacky Eurorack music with it. But. So I have a future project, my consuming soy boy desires don't end there, because I have some excess and extra modulars, here's like my wish list when I make some more money. You see, I want to get a tip-top audio Mantis case for $300, probably a green one, I don't know, and that gives me, it's just like the Rack Brute, but it's got 2 spaces, it's got the power on there, the power's in the back. Very, very simple kind of machine. So now I could put the larger units in here, and here's what I was thinking. I would put my Roland System M1M on the top. I would put a Behringer Neutron at the bottom. So the wider units get this space. So again, into the tip-top Mantis, I want to put this Roland System 1M in here. This is a really cool unit. It's very powerful, Japanese and digital. I love the plug-out stuff to put the Roland SH101 on there. It's monophonic. It does CV. I didn't know how to put it in the Eurorack at first, so I accidentally opened it up and it saw its guts, so I had to screw it back in. But now I realize, I was being an idiot. It's a very powerful device, and I love how it's just so noisy. And you can get some very experimental noises in it for just that cheap, affordable digital price, Following that, I also got this $50, or actually $61 free shipping ADSR from DSP Coffee. This is the most cheapest ADSR I've seen in the market, and I love it, and I had to immediately get one. And I'll show you what I'm going to use it for later. But again, add this little doofer mute mixer from top to bottom, 4 tracks. You can mute the tracks, level it, cool. Another centerpiece is that sometimes, connections can get a little weird, so with the yarns, you can turn a MIDI in signal to 4 CV gate outs, which I think very impressive. Of course, the Hermod does the same thing, but let's say you just wanted to just put them CV outs and use also the step sequencer inside the yarns. This is perfect. It's also a great clock as well. You just wanted to use this as like a mini Hermod or something like that, or you're trying to connect MIDI to CV. This is the processor here, right, for that. Love it. So this is going to control all the synthesizers in here as a little, extra bonus feature. But again, the big Chinese Behringer Neutron, the red unit. This is a white I found on Modular Grid, but it's actually red. Complete synthesizer here. Pretty interesting. Would love to mess around with the CV potholes here. And next to it is another Behringer oscillator, filter, and VCA. And that is where the top DSP Coffee ADSR comes into play, as I can gate them out there in envelope control and then use the yarns to control it. I got 3 synthesizers, the System 1M, the Neutron, and a 110 Behringer going off. So it's going to get some wacky bleeps here in this little Mantis. And finally, what happened to the Korg MS-20 MIDI converter? I just put it in the side here because when I will use my Korg MS-20 MIDI, I will use it through the yarns and then put the yarns through the converter into the MS-20 MIDI, and then you get 4 tracks here in this little box, and it can get really cool. So basic kind of stuff like that. I think it's this cool, but this is definitely a dream project that I would like to accomplish in the next year or so. But hopefully this is a rundown of my Euro project in 2022. Everything's good. I'm just enjoying the sun in Daly City, California right now, but again, have to make the money in pandemic era, and I don't know what to expect to the future. But anyway, if you like what I put out, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And did you know, by the way, there's archive stuff. I got an archive channel. If you go to archive.org/details/@pilleater, download a bunch of free pilleater stuff. You can download my books or my music, articles. It's all free because I'm an anarchist and believe everything should be public domain. And you can read my stuff on Substack now at pilleater.substack.com. Please subscribe to that. Go to pilleater.substack.com. And if you have a Twitter, it's twitter.com/realpilleater. It's just free stuff on my internet archive. Pilleater.substack.com. I got my Twitter, www.pilleater.com. Just consuming that. Hey, reach me up on Telegram, all that fun stuff. The world's about to implode. So talk to you next time, guys.